Hey everyone, this is Mrs. Ninneman, and I'm here to tell you about EasyBib and the Notebook and Note Cards feature. Now, this feature will allow you to create and organize your information, but by creating an outline that will help you out. So what you're going to do once you're inside EasyBib and you're logged on is you're going to go to My Projects. And under your projects, you should have been continually putting in all of the sources that you have used, okay? And you should have your bibliography all ready to go, etc., etc. So what I want you to do is find your project, and rather than hit bibliography like you normally do, you're going to go ahead and hit Notebook. Now, once you're inside the notebook, it's going to look something like this. It's a big blank space. We've got groups, new notes. To know that you're in the right one, it's going to state it right over here. Okay, so always double check, that you have it here. You also have write your thesis statement here. Okay, this is the place where you're going to write the thesis statement that's going to derive and focus your paper. And remember that everything that goes in your outline, everything that goes in your paper, everything needs to relate to your thesis statement. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and double click. And I'm going to write my thesis statement, and I'm going to include who solves it, what the problem is, who it affects, our population, what time period it is, which everybody should pretty much be current, as well as the place. So I'm going to write scientists should invent a more effective insecticide to prevent the current spread of the Zika virus in women in the United States. Okay, so everything's going to relate to that. I clicked out of it for it to save. Okay, remember, it's going to automatically save, but it's not going to hurt for you to hit save as you go along. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and start creating my note cards. So you're going to go ahead and hit new note over here on the left hand side. So the first thing I'm going to do is title it. Now your title should be an idea of what your note is about. It shouldn't be too detailed. Okay, don't write paragraphs. I mean, a full sentence is the absolute most it should be, and honestly, that's probably even too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about women in Florida and the Zika virus. Okay? So that gives me a main idea about what this is talking about. What the source is everything I've inputted into this project is already here from the bibliography. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and you can see all of those different sources are right here. So let's say I found out about women in Florida and the Zika virus from right here. Remember, it is so important that you note which source you got it from, because otherwise that's a form of plagiarism. Okay, and we've already covered plagiarism and what a big deal it is. Just make sure that you put what it is. So your evidence from text right here, that means if you've got a direct quote. So if I'm quoting something directly from the text that I want to put into my essay, and remember, those should be pretty minimal. You should not have a lot of quotations. But if you do have a quotation, go ahead and put it here and make sure you do the quotation. Everything should be spelled correctly. Everything should be worded correctly, okay? It's really important to double check that. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase. And remember, paraphrasing is not just changing a couple of words. It's totally rewording it and making it my own, even though I got the information from somewhere else. So I might say something like, pregnant women have most currently been affected in Florida, the first state to report an issue with the Zika virus. Okay, I've got one sentence. You could add more, okay? But the paraphrasing, that's where your bulk is going to come from. You're not going to have too much stuff up here because your title is what's going to help you in the outline. Okay? The other thing you can do, you can add comments like, I want to put this in the introduction. I want to, it's comments to yourself. They're not necessary, but you can absolutely do that. But down here is this little part that's called organize. And I like using organize because you can add tags Like if I wanted to do something about how I wanted Florida to be a tag, okay? I'm creating a new tag. It's like a hashtag where you can group things together. You can see when you see by tag, all notes by tag over here, it'll sort it for you. So that's one way to do it. And then we've got color coding, okay? I know a lot of you guys are awesome at color coding. I've seen it in your annotations. Color coding is going to be really helpful for you with the outline. It's not necessary. It's not like we're grading you if you color code or not. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But right now I'm going to go ahead and hit red. So let's say red is everything about how women in Florida have been affected. So I've got my note card right here. I can click and drag it. I can see exactly what I said. It shows me the source. I can edit it. I can maximize it so I can see the whole thing. I've got my tags. Even if I go over here, look, by tag. If I want to see all the tags about Florida, it's right over here. Okay, and then in order to go back, I'm going to go ahead and hit visualize, and it'll show that to me again. So all of your note cards are going to go here. You can even, I'll show you how to organize them even more. But what you can do with these note cards is they will help you create an outline. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to just make a couple more real quick to show you what how you can use it in an outline. So if I'm doing my introduction, and I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm going to talk about how Zika virus is an epidemic. Okay, obviously I would put more into this, but I really want to show you these features. I'm going to organize it in all my things. I can make my tag introduction, and everything that goes with my introduction can work. And I'm going to make this one bright yellow. Okay, I'm going to move it around. Let's say now I want to give background information. Which honestly, this should be more than one note card if you're doing background information. Okay, so I've got 3 note cards just to start. Okay, my thesis statement is still going to be right here. You can notice that we've got these arrow buttons in this place where it says new bullet. I would not use the new bullets. I mean, you absolutely can, especially with the introduction. Like, so I've got new item, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put introduction. So my introduction, everything I want to go under my introduction. So you could have introduction, you know, supporting detail, etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag what I want to go. You can see that little outline of a box. That shows you where it's going to go. If I wanted that to be a new thing, I'm going to move it until I can see a bigger box. But right now I want it under introduction. And already it's showing me part of my outline. Okay, it's helping me organize it. Let's say this is not in the right place and I want to move it. I can move it back over, back here. I can move it up. I can move it down. Okay, you can easily move it around. And then I want to also add my background information. So I'm going to go ahead and move it, and I want it to be under the bigger one. Oops. So sometimes it's trial and error. Okay, and that comes under introduction. Okay, so you can see how this is really, really helpful. And then I want to move this over here. Okay, so that's going to be my second point. Okay, obviously you should have something more like, you know, what your second supporting is. We'll give you a handout that will help you out on how to use this. But another great thing to note is within the note cards, if you want to organize this even more, because as you can tell, like these are all over the place. Those could easily stack up, especially because you've gotten a lot of information. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to click and drag background information, and I'm putting it with introduction, and that's how you create groups, because we've got groups over here. So right now it's called an untitled group. I can go ahead and have it as an introduction, and so that way it's over here and over here. Okay, in order for you to go ahead and print your final outline and everything, So once you're all done and you've got all of the things and you double check the rubric that it fits, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and hit print, and you're going to want outline, okay? And because we don't need all the extra information necessarily, unless you've added just some this is basically what we want. And you're going to go ahead and print it, and you're going to send it to the Adobe, okay? Go ahead and save it as a PDF, okay? And so I'll save it. Obviously, save it to your own student account, okay? And then from there, I'm going to find it, I'm going to print it off, and I'm going to submit it onto Seesaw. If you have any other questions about how this works, feel free to come and ask me, okay? So this was EasyBib Notecards, and hopefully this was helpful for you. Okay.